Hey everyone, it's Manav, and in today's video I'll be sharing with you this one psychological trigger that will make your clients literally addicted with you. Before that, let me just share with you its immense power by showing you the example. Right now, just a few months ago, like this is me and my YouTube channel. As you can see, like 17 views and 9 views, and 60 days later this happened. Right, I got 472 views on this video right now, and this is my Calendly. Right, I booked my first inbound call with only 6 subscribers. Right, and fast forward 30 days later this happened. Right, I booked 8 inbound coaching calls with only 26 subs. Right, and here are some more testimonials. As you can see, like booked calls, inbound DMs, booked calls, and something similar kind of happened with my client also. So like he booked his first inbound call with only like with 300 something subscribers. Right, and look, a really big reason behind all of this happen is just like one single psychological trigger that I'm about to show you today. And a quick note before we begin about it: this is for info product sellers, right? High ticket coaches and all of those guys. And if you want to have this completely done for you, you can book a call from first link in the description. But without further ado, let's just begin with it. Right, so how it all happened. Right, when I started creating YouTube videos, I thought the one who provides the most amount of value, or the one like people like the most, I used to think that these were the people who make the most amount of money. Right, and look, like to some degree it's kind of like true, but not 100%. Right, the thing is, like, there is a thing that I missed for almost like 2 to 4 months, and along with me, like 99% of you watching this video is probably like missing on this thing and making the same mistake as me. So I will share with you today. Right, so let me show you like the remaining part of the truth that no one really talks about. Right, so this is the person that you're trying to sell, and they are made of their traumas, desires, belief, latent triggers, and infinite more things. Right, and to really book a call with them, you don't need to be the best in your niche. Right, you just need to position your content so that it looks valuable. Right, it does not have to be like those videos where like you go to these root of the problems. That is something that you teach in your coaching programs. Right, that is something you teach in your um, one-on-one coaching things. Right, and this is where this one psychological triggers comes into play. Right, and this psychological trigger is called the absorption of pain, and I'm gonna tell you like exactly how to use it. Right, so I'm gonna break this one psychological trigger into 4 steps. Right, and what you can do is just like once you implement these 4 steps, your clients will literally just become like addicted to you, your videos, your content. Right, and yeah, most likely you will book calls just like I did. Right, so let's begin with it. Your product should be something that helps people change their life for a better good. If not, this is not really ethical, and I wouldn't recommend you doing this. Right, so step one is to make them aware of the pain that they are experiencing in their current situation. Right, now look, a lot of people like they are not constantly aware of their pain. Right, no one is. So what you have to do is like you just first step is to just make them aware of their pain. Right, about how bad their current situation is. Right, so for example, like when a certain music plays, people get reminded of their pains or happiness or nostalgia, some kind of, either through beat or a lyrics. Right, and that is like kind of similar to what we have to do. Right, so let me explain this with the help of an example. Right, let's say like, and this example we are gonna carry out throughout the all 4 steps, so listen really carefully. Like just full screen it, put all your attention here and all of that stick. Right, let's say you have an uni exam tomorrow. Right, but since you think that it's an additional subject or whatever, and you think that it does not matter, you did not study for it. Right, just for an example. Right, but then you call your friend for something, and then your friend tells you about the importance of this exam. Right, they say something like, if you don't pass this exam, you will have to repeat your sim. And on your call, what will you do is like your immediate action will be panic and anxiety leading to taking action. Right, that is what similar to what we kind of have to do in like our business thing. Right, and this is the first step that we want them to take, because fear is really necessary for them to take action. Right, they have to feel like their back is against the wall, and which is the like really the best thing that you can do for them if your product actually helps them change their life. And that was the first step. Right, you just have to make them aware of how bad their current situation actually is. Right, second thing you have to do is to amplify their pain indirectly. Right, indirectly is the keyword here. Right, I'm gonna show you exactly how to do it, but for now, to create a situation where they feel like their back is against the wall, you have to amplify their pain. Right, continuing that example about that friend, by the way, at this point they are not your friend anymore, right? But like they will say something like, bro, in my opinion, instead of studying, you should just look for a second job to pay your tuition, because you will most likely repeat the same, right? And your immediate thought will be, you will zone out, right? In your head you will start imagining different scenarios which are always worse than the actual reality, right? But that is what you kind of have to do with your viewers, right? Again, the key here is to make your product so good that it helps them change their life, right? Only after that this is all ethical. If your product does not help anyone, this is not really ethical, and I wouldn't recommend you doing it, because if you try and do it, it will just bite you 10 times harder, and you wouldn't be able to go through it, right? So anyways, Hormozi talks about this, like he said that fear is a mile wide and an inch deep, which is like, like that is what it is, right? But you really, like just have to amplify their pain, and you have to do it indirectly, right? You cannot really tell them that, oh, like these are gonna be the consequences if you don't solve your problem, right? They just have to feel the consequences by themselves, and that was the second step that you have to do, right? Again, your product should be something that helps people change their life for a better good. If not, this is not really ethical, and I wouldn't recommend you doing this. By the way, if you're a high ticket coach and you want to have this all done for you, you can book a quick call from the first link in the descriptions, right? Step 3, make it sound complex enough so that they don't do it themselves, right? Now your job is to make it complex enough that they don't do it by themselves, but still easy enough that they don't really give up, right? If you make it like too much complex, they might just give hope, right? So you don't have to do that, you just still have to keep the hope, right? And continuing that example, and that person on the other side of the call, they will probably ask you a question, something like, bro, by the way, how many chapters are left? And you'll answer probably like, I don't know, almost all of them. And then you will, then that person will say something like this: what, after chapter 5, bro, all of them took me 4 days each to complete them, but in my opinion there is one way by which you can do it extremely fast, right? So see how, like this, um what or exclamation create a freight ton of panic, right? So in between you're also increasing their fear, but mainly what you are doing is like just making it really complex, like just trying to say that there is only one way left, and following my way is the right way, right? And again, bro, like just to be more and more ethical, I'm talking about this again and again, your product should really be something that helps people change their life. If that does not happen, it will bite you back, right? Step number 4: sell the solution without teaching, right? This is the most important step out of all of them, right? And almost everyone fails at this, including me, but like it's insanely important for you, right? People don't really want to be taught, right? All of us thinks that, oh, like you just have to provide value or all of these things. In reality, you don't have to do that. You just have to agitate their pain. You just have to make them aware of how bad their current situation is. You just have to make them aware of like the consequences of not solving the problem. You just have to create a life in their head when they have tried everything and still nothing happened, right? You have to do kind of like that thing, because if in video you just give them everything, they will be like, oh, great value, I will just look into it later. That is not how you really book calls, right? They don't really want to learn things, right? If they wanted to, all the information is available on YouTube, right? No one would be buying courses. So this is like Charlie Morgan's free course, right? And it's insanely good. They just want someone, like who can hold their hand and shows them the solution to their problem, right? Almost creating a scenario equal to like where it just seems like you are doing everything for them, but in reality they are doing everything by them, and you're just holding them accountable, right? So people basically are buying coaching because they want to be held accountable. It's not because like they want to learn, because like everything is available on YouTube for free, right? They just give you their money, and so that you can solve their problem, right? And that is how it works, right? So this trigger, basically what it does is like, obviously you have to provide value, right? That is how you will make it look valuable. But most of part in your value creating thing, it is to agitate their pain, right? It is to just basically amplify it. Again, your product should be something that helps them change their life. If not, it will just bite you back so much harder that you will never be able to get back up again. And bro, like, it just seems like like that I'm exaggerating it, but I'm not, right? By the way, if you're a high ticket coach and you want to have this all done for you, you can book a quick call from the first link in the description, right?